Okay, so welcome to Publisher Weekly in Español. We are so glad to have you here. We are going to be talking about your new book. If you can give us like a small thought about how it is and just how to get into the public.
Can you explain that to me again?
Yeah, if you know, don't worry. If you could give us a small plot about what is your book, so like where does to get it to?
It's called The Employees, and it's a short novel, and it takes place in a spaceship that novels do. So it's like a sci-fi novel, but it's written as found text. So it's built by different testimonies by workers on a ship. And there are two categories of workers. There are humans and humanoids, and they are kind of like in a set system, but then several objects are brought on board the spaceship, and those objects kind of like change everything.
And just speaking about these, how important was your family ambience to your novel? Because you come from, your parents are in these artistic worlds, so that has affected your novel or your knowledge?
Well, I wrote some books before this one. I wouldn't say that it affected my novel, but I have definitely learned from watching my mother that it is possible to become an artist. So maybe it gave me some assurance that I should continue.
And are you proud about the reception that your book has gotten in Spain?
Yes, I've been trying to follow it, but I don't understand Spanish. But my father-in-law does, so he will send me press clippings, so I will believe him.
That's true. And we thought that everything has been told about science fiction, but what are you apporting new to these genre that you think that is really relevant?
Are you asking me if I brought anything new to the genre?
Yeah, and what elements you have, like a new, fresh view about everything and science fiction?
I don't really know if I'm reading anything new. I think that a lot of readers that will read my book perhaps don't have that much experience with sci-fi. It's a wonderful and very alive genre with very different books. But to me at least, I've always found that I liked books that were considered bad taste.
Yeah.
For example, science fiction. So I wanted to like take the sci-fi and all the tropes and show my love for the genre, but also I'm also a poet, so I wanted to like make the two worlds meet, the poetry and the sci-fi novel.
And do you think that the science fiction genre is too repetitive or it has been written too much, or you can always bring a new perspective to it?
No, not at all. I think the science fiction genre is a very vibrant and living genre, but I think that we have definitely some stereotypes about science fiction that perhaps also come from Hollywood and from movies.
Yeah.
That is like a very macho, technological, patriarchal, straight line with the plot, and I'm more influenced by more feminist sci-fi. For example, like writers like Ursula K. Le Guin, that are still using science, but more like sociology, humanities, anthropology, and more interested in like society, and how you build societies, and how we interact socially together.
And because you are a poet, do you create to express yourself in your books through the sci-fi genre?
Well, I think poetry is also very much a way of looking at the world and being in the world, and I am very interested in language and how language shapes reality. So when I began writing this book, I had a normal office job.
Yeah, that's what's going to be my next question.
And I was just like sitting at the computer doing boring administrative work, and in the office we had this efficiency newspeak, like I have to better myself and I have to be a more efficient worker, and I need to have what can I do in order to give more to the workplace, and I can go down to human resources. And as a poet, I think I've gotten very interested in the language, in the specific language in which ideology was hiding in the language, so I wanted to take that language to the extreme and say, okay, what is the consequence of the worldview and view of humans in this kind of language, and what would happen if I put it into a more poetic, literary setting?
Yeah, that's what's going to be my next question, how you come afterwards being this normal job and then becoming this successful writer, how it's that transition to it.
Well, I'm not sure I'm a successful writer,
but
I know that when I finished the manuscript and I turned it into my editor, the same day I quit my job.
Oh
That's
yeah,
actually
yeah,
5 years ago now.
yeah,
So I had written some books before that, and I was at a point in my life where just like I will just have to make it economically because
yeah.
I can't have a boss anymore.
Your own boss.
So
Yeah,
I will have to let go of some luxuries and some pleasures. So
yeah,
I will, and then just keep on writing. So slowly it's been building. It's not something that happened overnight. And perhaps that's also something I learned from my mother as an artist, that you can have, be on top of the world, and then the next day, the next year you're down again. So it's like working with the sea or something.
yeah.
It comes, it goes.
Totally.
So you have to be just like, and also economically, it's really difficult because I never know what I can afford.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's like,
Can I afford a
yeah,
new dryer? I don't really
artist.
know.
Yeah, totally. That's what's going to be like my next question about feminism and all this. If you think that this genre, science fiction genre, is nowadays a little bit less sexism than it was before, and how this affects also to you as a writer, as a woman writer.
I think there's always actually been a part of science fiction that's been feminist. Many people consider the first science fiction novel to be Frankenstein by Mary Shelley.
This true. This true is 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful book.
Yeah.
So I think that for me at least, genre literature was actually a really wonderful place to have come as perhaps a more feminist interested writer, because I was when I went to writing school, I was taught in a tradition of a very realistic novel and a psychological portrait. And each time I tried to write that, it would just fall flat. So I kind of found myself moving towards genre, science fiction and horror, and even maybe fantasy, or do I dare say romance? I really want to write a romance novel one day, but it's really, really difficult.
Yeah, that's what's going to be one of my next questions.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I think that each genre holds ideology.
Yeah, true.
And we have like some notion about the realistic contemporary novel as being a neutral space, but it's not.
It's not always. Always it's not.
So
Yeah.
I had to like, I realized that I have to move in the outskirts of like the literary canon to actually be able to express what I want to say and how I experience life.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the questions I was going to be asking you. You would rather like kind of go into another genre, or just get into science fiction?
No. I wrote a novel before this, which was like a horror novel, sort of. And now I'm really into like historical fiction.
Historical, no. Yeah. Oh my god! And did you like a culture in general, like romance that you talked about before,
I told my agent about romance. I could just see in her face.
It's not like history accurate type things though, also.
No, that's true. But I have no problem with that. But I think romance would be really. It's actually really difficult to write. People like it's the lowest of the low of the literary genre, but it's really, really difficult to do well. Like the sex scenes, really, really difficult. So I'm not sure. Maybe when I get 80, I will have.
Yeah, I've had enough time. Yeah. And
maybe that would definitely be with a non-human love interest.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, because right now there has been so many books about it. With animals and like gods, like Virte and all those. Yeah, it will be really cool.
It's a feminist literary genre.
Yeah, that's true. It's Marianne Miller.
Can I have sex with anything else but men?
Yeah. Like that, 100%. Yeah, be in love with somebody.
A bear,
that's totally. Yeah. A soul like Theo. 100%. Yeah. And what would you say to someone like a bookstore that wants to buy your book? Like, what would be something that you should?
Well, when this book was published in Danish, I sent it to my mother, and she called me and she said, "Oh, it's a good book." She's a nice mother. And then she told me, I don't want to be cremated. I want to be buried. And the book reminded her of it. And it made me happy. It was a great review because there's something about this book where I try to speak about how we belong to the world in other ways than work, in other ways than family. That is more like how do we belong to our own ecology.
Yeah, true.
So perhaps in a bookstore I would say if you need to reconnect with how you actually belong in the world besides your like individual identity,
Yeah, that's really an
Then perhaps
amazing.
try to read it.
Yeah, because like I read a couple of like months ago that how nature also is like of a woman, and you talk in your book about feminism and everything. So it's just that connecting with nature once again.
I don't think that nature is more for any gender.
Yeah,
No, I don't think that. I think that it's a very important part of us, and we're a very important part of it, and we like to think that we are above
I love.
the land, but we're not. I mean, we're totally linked to it. We're made of the same stuff.
Well, thank you so much.
So, yes.
Have a great year in Retiro. Thank you so much.